Welcome to the TDOMS 2-minute overviews, and today we're going to take a look at version conflicts and how to resolve them. So let's take a look at the typical pipeline. We have development, test, integration, and production, and here we have a program in production with V1. Okay, V1 means that it has been pushed through the cycle one time. V2, V3, V4, the name says it, those have been changed 3, 4, 5, or even more times. So that is the version number, the current version number of the program. How do I get the version conflict? Well, by changing the program twice, or having two developers or more developers working on the same program simultaneously. So how is this possible? Well, we can create a branch inside TDOMS and a developer can check out a program into development. And also another developer can create their own branch and also check out the object into development. So now we have two active versions of the same program simultaneously, and this is a version conflict, or rather it is a potential version conflict. The version conflict is only real if one of those goes to production. Then it is a real version conflict because then the changes need to be retrofitted. Before that, not so much, because this developer can work on it for like a year or something like that. So I don't have to take over the changes from this program into that program. Also, this developer can decide to disconnect the program and then there's no version conflict at all, right? So this is basically the version conflict situation. So there is a potential version conflict and there's a real version conflict. So the potential version conflict is blue underlined, it's a blue color, and in the green screen it is an orange color, but in a real version conflict is a red color, and that is the version conflict you have to take action on, but not so much on the potential version conflict. I will show you that in a minute. Okay, so yeah, we're not quite here yet. Let's go to the GUI. So I have already created two tasks. Let me create a branch for each of them. And for this one as well. Okay, so branches are created. I'm going to connect my program to my first task. Everything is fine because nobody was working on it. So I can check that out to my development environment, and it is now in development. Okay, so then the other developer says, okay, hey, I also want a copy of that program, also attaches it to the task, and now TDOMS says, hey, wait a minute, somebody else is already working on it. It is already active in task 528. What do you want to do? Well, I just also want to connect that object to the task and check it out, right? So I just choose connect. Now it's attached to in production, as you can see. Also inside TDOMS, you can see that there's in the components view that two persons are working, or two tasks are working on the same object. So let me check this one out. That's over here. And now I have the objects attached to two tasks. And you can already see for this task, and if I press refresh on the filter, you will also see it for the other task, is that we now have a version conflict decoration. So when you see additional icons on top of an icon, it means that the icon is decorated. Also, this text is decorated. It is blue underline. And blue underline means it is a potential version conflict, right? It's not yet red. We don't have to do anything at the moment. It's just for us to know that this is also attached to other tasks. And we can see here that indeed it is also attached to task 528. And over here we can see that it is also attached to task 529. Okay, so nothing the matter at the moment. Let's go into task 1. I'm going to add a change here. So I'm going to say this is a change from task 1. task 1, right? So that's this one, and I'm going to save it, and I'm going to automatically compile it to the build queue. Everything was fine, so great. I can now promote my change to the next environment. In this case, it is test. Okay, so it's going to test from dev to test, and I'm going to press finish. And now the object is in test. So if I take a look at the diagram, what will happen is it has been moved to test. And of course, this developer, if he would know about that, then they would maybe not be so very pleased, because it looks like they are the ones that are going to have to retrofit the changes. So this is test, and this developer is done. Everybody has tested it. Everybody's happy. So we're promoting this to the integration environment so that the user base can take a look at it. So that is done as well. It is now an integration. And as you can see, it is still a potential version conflict. So at this moment, it is still possible that this one doesn't make it to production, right? So it can still be checked out or even disconnected. So there is no version conflict in that case. So it is still a potential version conflict. However, at this point, probably the developer can, let's say in discussion with the fellow developer, they can maybe already say, hey, let's take over these changes that you made into my program, right? So that is already maybe now a good time, but still it is not guaranteed that this change will actually make it, right? So this developer is wise to not take the changes until it is confirmed that this went to production. Because if they do it too early, obviously, then they have to remove those changes later on, and that is definitely not a pleasant job. Okay, so it is now here. Let's just push that one to the production environment. So I'm going to do and by the way, I can now go on my task and say confirm version conflict. So I can already say here, yes, I took over the change from task 5 to 9. Well, it's not the task of this 5 to 8, right? Because the 5 to 8 is an integration. They don't have to confirm anything. If somebody had to confirm anything at this point, it would have been task 5 to 9, because they are still in dev and they have to take over the changes from int. So the person from 5 to 8, they don't really have to worry about anything, right? If they want to push to production, it is fine, because it is still a potential version conflict and not a real version conflict. So let's make this a real version conflict. And by the way, we also have a view that is the version conflicts view. That's over here. And that version conflict is telling us, okay, what version conflicts do we actually have? And yeah, I can toggle between the tasks, and the task will say, yeah, there's a potential version conflict. In this case, it is yellow with 5 to 8, and 5 to 8 says there's a potential version conflict with 5 to 9. Now let's promote this to production. So I'm going to promote this. And now I'm going to promote it. What is going to happen is I'm going to replace V1 with V2. So at that moment, this V1 is no longer the correct version that it originated from production. So now there is a real version conflict. So let's push this. It is now in production, and this is still blue, but if I refresh, you can see that now is a red underline, and we have a real version conflict. So at this moment, this developer can never make it to production. They can never push it unless they have confirmed the version conflict, and the confirmation of the version conflict basically means, yes, I have taken over the change from that other developer. So what this developer needs to do, and let me just first open this one and add my change. So I can say here, this is task 2 change, right? Change, that's this change. And let's just compile it as well. All right, so what this developer now wants to do is they want to compare their source with the production source and take over the changes. So how do we do that? We say compare with revision. We're going to find our production version. So the green one is the one that we are. This is the program that is in production. And you can see, yes, this was the change that we made. This was our change, this was their change. So I actually have to take over this change here and then save it. Replace the contents of that member. Yes, I want to do that. And now I have taken over my change. If I double click my source again, you can see I have incorporated changes from both task 2 and task 1. So again, I can add this to the build queue. Let it compile. Everything is fine. And now is the time to confirm the version conflict. I can either do it from here, confirm version conflict, or I can go to my version conflicts view, tick my task, and then see, okay, this is the one that I want to confirm. Okay, get the same window, confirm version conflicts, and yeah, that one is then done. So you can see that the version conflict of that other task was automatically confirmed by TDOMS because they went to production first. So I'd say, okay, confirm version conflict. And now when I push my change, you can see the version conflict is now fine. It is confirmed. And when I push this now to test, and eventually this decoration will go away. It can lag behind a couple of seconds, a couple of refreshes, but when you push it to int, then the decoration will definitely go away. And you can see that, yes, it is now in test. The version conflict was resolved, and it was agreed upon by Wim. Wim said everything was fine. I took over the change from that other 5 to 8 task. Yeah, the version conflict is now resolved, and now I can push to production. So yeah, this is basically what the version conflicts do. So let's take a little recap here, and let's take a look at the learning points. So the version conflicts can be potential and or real, right? So a potential version conflict is when both objects are still somewhere in the cycle, and a real version conflict is when one of the two went to production. And that is the only moment that you want to confirm the version conflict and take over the changes. So you don't want to confirm the version conflicts too early. Although there are situations, obviously, when that is wanted, right? But that is up to the discretion of the developer. But in normal situations, we would say only confirm red version conflicts and not blue version conflicts. So we can confirm the version conflicts on the task level. So right click and then confirm version conflict, but there's also a version conflicts view. Yeah, so this is basically the version conflicts. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I hope to see you in a next video.